Oh, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever the case may be, wherever you are in this bright, wonderful world we live in. This is the Aloha Hour slash cross-examinations, or cross-examinations Aloha Hour, however you want to phrase it. And sorry for the weird camera angle. My wife took the other computer, so rather than looking here, I have a camera set up here. So, anyways, yeah, I felt kind of bad. Um, okay, what happened was I stayed up entirely too late last night watching The Last Kingdom. And because of that, I ended up staying up crazy late. So I ended up waking up crazy late this morning. And then I found out that Ben Shapiro had done the promo for Lone Star, which I was, oh, I should have named this something to do with that. You know what? I should fix that. You're not on, often on after DQ. No. Because, whoops. So cross-examinations, Aloha Hour, Shapiro Endorsement. That's a really long title, but I'm saving it anyways. So, yeah, for those of you who were have been ignoring everything that's happened today, I don't know how you could have been. Yeah, Ben Shapiro on his broadcast podcast endorsed slash kind of not really reviewed, but he did endorse. It was like a minute and a half, something like that. Endorsement of Lone Star and me as an artist, and he was. I mean, he had told me that he was going to do it when he got back from vacation, and the fact that he did it the day he got back from vacation, I mean, that's stand up. That is he's a man of his word. So I was stoked about that. I called him up and I thanked him. We talked about some other stuff, and one of these days I want to get him on cross examinations. But he's a crazy busy guy. So have I watched Nightfall? No, I have not seen that one yet. Darn it, that's another one I wanted to see. All right, that's next on my list. But so anyways, Ben, I just love the fact that he, when somebody says, oh, I'll do that for you when I get back from vacation, he does. That could be like a week, 2 weeks after whatever, but it was the first show out of the gate after his vacation, and I was like, wow, that's a guy who you can count on, I guess, is what I'd say. Sorry, this camera's like shaking all over the place, isn't it? Yes, Ben is a great role model. If you talk so fast, probably nobody caught it. Well, he talks so fast, he does pack 2 hours worth of information into a 1 hour podcast. Yeah, and I'd love to get him on here and kind of talk about his faith. He's an Orthodox Jew, and which is it's not a cultural Jew. It's a Jew of faith and of tradition. And I kind of, I'd love to pick his brain about that, because most of the Jews that I've known in my life have been Reform Jews. My wife's family is Jewish, so, and it's funny, I've heard him talk about it, about how about most Jews are Reform Jews and therefore they're liberals. But yeah, no, it'd be a great conversation. I think it'd be an amazing opportunity. So pray for that. Hopefully someday he'll make a surprise appearance on this very show. That would be phenomenal. Other than that, today, then as my day went on, I jumped on. Ethan did a morning show or an early afternoon show, and I jumped on that, and I was on there for like an hour, and then I was like, I gotta take a shower, and then I gotta. Oh, and then as soon as I was done with that, I was like, oh crap, I have to go on Order the Green Hand today. I totally forgot about that. So I go on there, and then I'm on there for 2 hours, and then I'm like, I got to get going because I got to do drawn and quartered, and so I got off of there. I ate my dinner, and I went to do drawn and quartered. The drawn and quartered takes 2.5 hours, and now this has been my first opportunity today to do my daily dose of cross-examinations. And for those of you who are, boy, a lot of you are the regular morning people. Are you guys just on long? Because a lot of these are the regular, you guys are the regular morning cross-examiners. Oh, we've got 2 thumbs down already. Is it because because this is starting so late? I hope we never sleep. Yeah. But it's great to have you all here. It's night church. And yeah, I say that facetiously because no, this is not church. This is, well, we are, those of us who are believers, we are the church. But this is our fellowship, and I'm sorry I'm late. This should have happened 12 hours ago or more. I often give up what I'm working on to do cross examinations. Oh, P Money, thank you. That's great. Yeah, and I was also thinking. I was asking my wife. I was like, should I do? Because I do have work to do. I've only gotten up to page 8. You want to see page? No, that's the David and Goliath thing. Here's page 8 of Lone Star. I got that done. I really wanted to start page 9 today, but I asked my wife, I'm like, have I, I haven't done cross examinations yet, and maybe if I do it at night, there'll be some people who are not usually watching in the morning, so maybe we could have a little bit of outreach as long as we're here. Perkindo, back Lone Star on Indiegogo early tonight. Looking forward to it. Thank you, appreciate that. Night Court, Night Court, Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of what the. Okay, right, that's the part. So late, but it was a special occasion. It was the occasion being that I got up late. Morning, good drawn and quartered. Yeah, it was a great one, wasn't it, Tommy? What's up, Josh? Devil Sunburn 99. Yeah. Okay. So let's get to the questions. Oh my goodness, because yesterday's episode there were some questions, and there were a lot of comments, and there were some people that was not happy with what I said. But you know what? The first thing I said when I started yesterday's show was, this is going to be controversial. So let me rummage through the mess. And you know what? At 609 views on yesterday's show, that was the most viewed episode of Cross Examinations. It was the Maps Are Pedos period episode. And I'm not entirely sure why. It's I guess it might be a hot button issue. I don't want to turn this into show about controversy, right? I mean, it's fun to do like the dragons are real and the unicorns are real, and take these kind of interesting topics, which may sound a little clickbaity, but utilize them to bring in people who may just be interested in dragons and dinosaurs and unicorns and crypto zoology or whatever, and bring them into a room or a space where we are talking about these things in a fun way, but in a serious way, and in a way that can lead them to more information about why someone would go so against the grain of modern scientific thinking, but in a reasonable and logical way, basing opinions on evidence, not on fairy tales or fictions or myths or even holy scripture, but basing opinions on the evidence extant in the world. And the whole maps or pedos thing, it did make me emotional and angry. And one of our good friends on the show did send me a video, kind of encouraging me, because I was getting angry. And I spent a part of today praying for pedophiles, because the best thing that could happen, obviously, would for them to be convicted and changed. The best thing to do with a bad person is make them a good person, right? That is not to say they should not be punished for their crimes. But yeah, he who is without sin casts the first stone. And I was convicted. I was letting my anger get the better of my faith. And sorry. I know it's my flesh. My flesh really would want to tear a person like that limb from limb. And honestly, I don't know if I would have enough faith if something happened to one of my kids, not to tear somebody limb from limb. But that's it. I mean, I prayed for all the pedophiles in the world, that they would turn, change, repent, find a true and right way to live, and clear the minds of those evil, disgusting thoughts. So anyways, that's where I was coming from. Let me go through yesterday's comments. Gateway into Comics said, I'm pro castration for convicted child molesters. I know it's a bit controversial to say also, but it also seems like a great idea. Agreed. WK says agreed. Protecting kids should be the highest priority. I agree with that too. Super Crusader, I'm pro death penalty. You ruin a kid's life, you forfeit your own. Yeah, I agree with that too. And again, I am not saying to ever excuse someone from those crimes. I'm saying that people with those drives, I mean, listen to them. I heard them on Twitter. I listened, or I read one of these long threads of this person trying to justify, oh, I was born this way. This is just the way I'm naturally attracted to children. I'm like, yo, how, and saying that people who are anti-pedophilia are worse than Nazis. What? People are so convinced that because they have this urge, that urge is right. No. I may have the urge, to punch some people in the face. That doesn't make the urge right. I may have the urge to want to cheat on my taxes. That doesn't make the urge right. If we gave in to all of our base urges, all of our worst urges, this world would be a burning ball of slag. We can't dismiss sin by saying I was born that way. This is how I feel naturally. This is what feels right. This is what my heart tells me. Right and wrong don't care about your feelings. Right and wrong are not altered by how they make you feel, how you feel about them. Yeah, let me go on. Berserker Pride says the concerning thing about this is that these degenerates want to go out in the open under their cute little label. They are hiding under the protected groups phenomenon. All of this shows their boldness. They should be terrified of being found out, not proudly identifying as a sick label. Accurate. Uncanny Kodiak says, I only watched pretty much the highlights of this video. I didn't know we had highlights, but that's cool because this topic makes me nauseous. Yeah, I agree. I have kids and I feel the same way you do about yours. This is where I would be willing to go to war. This will not be allowed. I pray that you're right, Kodiak. I pray this will not be allowed. This is a bridge too far. This is several bridges too far, but we've already given up the others. Super Crusader says, men are acting like women, women are acting like men, and no one is happy. Masculinity and femininity are built into the core of who we are as human beings. There are gifts to embrace, not they are gifts to be okay, that's why. They are gifts to be embraced, not burdens to be shed, archaic societal constructs to be dismantled, or loathsome urges to be suppressed. Likewise, marriage is not outdated, obsolete, or open to interpretation. In the joining of masculine and feminine, both are made complete. We enhance each other's strengths, negate each other's weaknesses, and more accurately reflect the image and character of God. 100%. That's me saying 100%. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to you. Hey, Mike missed most of the stream, but checked it out later. Struggle today is biblical times. Marrying girls who are like 14 to 17 was very common. Even some believe Mary was like 14. How do we reconcile that and say today that kind of action is wrong? My only answer personally is that we follow the law of the land as long as it doesn't go against scripture, and the law of the land says 18, marriage, who am I to argue? But I'm curious about your thoughts. WK responds, clearly a teen does not become a predator just because he turns 18 years old before his girlfriend. Nobody is saying that. Age of consent can vary bit by country and culture. The true pedos are vampires who destroy lives. They are an evil that should be unimaginable. But sadly, it's all too easy to imagine these days. This is nothing like a normal dating relationship where one person turns 18 and ideally a pair of kids would wait to make sexual issue moot. Anyways, we must not conflate these things because it only gives cover to monsters. Yeah. In your point about it being the law of the land, it is cultural as well. In our world, you aren't allowed to drink alcohol until you're 21 years old. You're not allowed to fight for your country until you're 18 years old. You're not allowed to drive a car until you're 16 years old. And granted, these numbers can be arbitrary because everybody matures at a different rate. But culturally, legally, um, we have defined adulthood as 18. Um, at the time we're talking about, in where you're talking about Mary being 14 or 15 years old when was she was gave birth to Christ. Well, at the time, if you were 13 years old, you were considered a man. Um, we didn't have 12 years of school, well, count kindergarten, 13 years of schooling, and then college, and then, we have extended childhood in this country, for good or ill. We have extended it nearly until the second decade of life. We do not give our children the responsibilities of adulthood until they're nearly in the second decade of their life. We have, I don't just say this flippantly as in, oh, they're 18 as an adult. We've extended adolescence. We've extended childhood. We've extended the growth process and the maturation process of children in, again, for better or worse, to near, oh my gosh, they're trying to extend it to 36. How many people are incapable of adulting nowadays, right? My 17-year-old says, me. How many 26-year-olds are still living in their parents' spare room? It's like they want their cake and they want to eat it too, right? I want to have all the rights of an adult, but I want to still be an immature child, and be taken care of by mommy and daddy. And so, I mean, yeah, I grant you that there are situations in the history of the world where people were forced into adulthood much younger than we are today. It seems like, and plus, you're talking about times when people didn't often live into their 50s. So you'd be middle-aged at 25, which is like, I look at 25-year-olds today and I think they're still kids. I'm 47, and this is middle age now, right? I'd be a few years from the grave around the turn of Christ. We've extended lifespans, we've extended adolescence, we've extended childhood. So the rule that we have set down, and yes, the Bible says we obey the laws of the land unless those laws contradict the Bible, which was your original statement, P-Money. And that is, that is legitimately where we draw the line. Yes, girls still physically mature at 13, 14 years old. But I don't know, man. I've met some girls that haven't emotionally matured and they're in their 30s. So we've either got to stick to this line in the sand. Actually, there's no other option. You have to stick to that line in the sand because it's not going to go backwards. We're not going to suddenly have a revival of mature children in this country taking over. No, it only gets worse. So the longer it takes for children to mature, the older they have to be before they reach that age of maturity and accountability, and that age where they can and should legally be able to be a consenting adult. Boy, that was a really long way to answer that question, wasn't it? Brian says, when they set up the Arch of Baal in New York, it opened up the floodgates of hell. Human sacrifice is around the corner, to which I responded, human sacrifice has been in full swing since Roe versus Wade. And he responds, you're absolutely right. I don't think that has to even be any explained anymore. Jesus didn't love Herod, Brandon Moore says. He called Herod a fox, little dog, never spoke to him, yet spoke to Pilate. Jesus also tossed tables in the temple. That doesn't mean he didn't love him. He may not have liked him, but that's not the same thing. There are people in my family who I love, but I don't like them. And so it's very easily relatable to me for God. I am sure God did not like Hitler. I am positive God was not a fan. But I am also sure that he loved him and died for him. And yeah, it's the difference between love and like is vast. Praying for God, Watchman says, to sanctify Hollywood is to ask him to sanctify the porn industry. Pray God would cause that den of vapid souls to fall off into the Pacific Ocean. Since legalization of gay marriage, that was 2 middle fingers to God. I felt in the same spirit when it happened. I doubled over, weeping, groaning in the spirit. I knew then how God never felt that happen before or after. I knew then how God felt that never had that happen before or after. Oh. I just responded, not sanctify, redeem, fix it, change it, not bless the sinful, but turn the sinners to righteousness. I don't believe anything is impossible with God. Super Crusader says, child molestation has debilitating lifelong side effects. There's a reason I'm on the wrong side of 35 and never been married or in a committed relationship. And I said prayers for you, brother. So let's all pray for Super Crusader together right now. Lord God, Super Crusader, obviously you went through some traumatic, oh, that's not even the word. Just the worst things that can happen to a child, Lord. And it has harmed him. It has perhaps even crippled him in ways that your average person couldn't understand, Father. We just pray that you can find some way to use that for your benefit. Find a way, Lord, to release him of any harm, to take away any permanence from those events, Lord, and bring a peace to him and an understanding that he can love and be loved the way you intend for man and woman to know love. And we ask these things in your precious Son's name. Amen. Whitechapel Fiend. Here's where we get into it. I hope that young man behind you recognizes how awful what you just said was. I also hope you realize that before he does, because has disappointment in you is going to Titanic. You had one, and it's just poorly written. You had one easy, simple thing to say. Maps are pedophiles, which you did, but then you let your bigotry take over. And I said, specify what I said was bigoted, please. And he responds, got as far as the part where you insinuated acceptance of the queer community led to this. Like I said in the earlier comment, you paused and sighed because you know how ridiculous you sounded. I mean, if that's not what you meant, and you honestly believe the queer community or the general acceptance of this is not responsible for MAPS then I will be a lot happier with you as a person. If that's the case, you should clarify that thought in another video, because some folks in your feed are coming to that conclusion. And then that got repeated 3 times. So YouTube comments are acting up. No. All right. I respond. Let me ask you a question, Whitechapel Fiend. If the queer community had not been so successful at not only gaining the tolerance they deserve, but acceptance they desired, and now the media presence that they maintain, do you think that the trans community would have stepped up to the plate to take their place in the sun for tolerance, acceptance, and media presence? You would not, I'm pretty sure. Now, do you really not think that the pedo community is looking at how far the gay and trans are now, saying it's our turn? Because they are. They have been emboldened. They do think it's their turn. And it is because they have seen what the gay and trans communities have achieved in our society. Does that make the gay and trans communities responsible? No, it doesn't. People are responsible for their own actions. Donald Trump isn't responsible for me deciding I should start a comic book company. But his winning the election gave me the hope that it could be done. It emboldened me. The LGBT community is not responsible, but their success gave the pedo community the hope they needed to come out of the closet swinging. And you know that is 100% true in your heart. Okay, he responds, I haven't read this. Going to point out that consent is giant elephant in the room. There is no slippery slope from LGBT rights to pedophilia. That is a fallacy so stale that it's been sitting out since the 1950s. Time to accept that those pedophiles always existed. An excuse to get their desires fulfilled. And this time it's capitalizing on LGBT acceptance. You just said what I said. Your argument is my argument. I'm going to read your words over to you again. Time to accept that those pedophiles always existed and will seize upon any excuse to get their desires fulfilled. And this time it's capitalizing on LGBT acceptance. You made my argument for me. So you are agreeing with me. You're just mad that I said it out loud. However, what LGBT advocation has that MAPS will never have is consent. 2 men getting married is acceptable because those 2 men consented to a relationship. You know it, I know it, and so does the rest of society. And again, I don't give a darn what 2 people do in the privacy of their bedrooms. That is their life. Your right. 2 adults have the right to do anything they want with each other. Not my place to tell them they can't. MAPS will never have that because a child cannot consent to a relationship. Legally. A few years ago, a grown man couldn't legally go into a bathroom with a young girl who was not his daughter. Right? Who's pushing these laws? Who's pushing these laws so far to the left that they break, and then society breaks with them? It's not me.
It's Obama.
It's Obama. To be honest, I am far more concerned about child marriage that is prevalent in this country. It is not prevalent. It exists. That is facilitated in conservative Christian, Muslim, and Jewish sects, where parents allowed allow adults to marry their children under the age of 18. Some states have no legal restriction on how old a child has to be if a parent consents. Maps are bad, but child marriage is even worse because parents who are supposed to be protecting their children are putting their own kids at the mercy of adult sickos. I'm not a fan of people getting married under the age of 18. But usually the people who are arguing against, okay, this is another one of those things where I'm talking about situational stuff, right? My son is a lot more mature than my son's friend. I'm not going to name him. Right? He's only a year older than him, but he's probably about 4 years more mature than him. 5 years?
It can go in the other direction too.
So in the circumstance where you have, say you have two 17-year-old kids and they are mature to the point where they convince their parents that, you know, they're mature enough to get married. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it, but to say that is worse than freaking pedophiles, I think you've got some thinking to do on that. Because that is not worse in my book. Again, I think 18, that's the way our country works. Although I will have to say it is ironic that usually people who are complaining about the child marriage are the same people who want the age of consent to be lowered to like 14. So what? It's okay for kids to go around banging each other, but if they want to be adults and get married, it's a problem, huh? Yeah. Typo Comic says, the denial of the outrageous grooming happening in American schools. Certainly LGBTQ and M or P, sorry, it's the truth, is growing in acceptance among the youth completely organically. There is no coaching or any kind of assimilation happening here. Oh, that brings me back to my friend Kyle. Remember I was talking about my friend Kyle yesterday, the gay fella who lived in Hillcrest, and I prayed for him and we sent him off to another state to get away from the gay community here. One of the things he said that he would do, because when you're apparently, and this is him, not me, young confused men would go into gay chat rooms and start asking, you know, like out of curiosity, well, what's it like, and what's it, and then you'd always have, you know, you'd have the groomers, you know, come on in, it's great, everything's awesome when you come out of this and you accept who you are and you're gay and you're blah blah blah. And then my friend Kyle would grab these kids as often as he could, take them into a private DM and be like, no, this is bad. He's like, I've lived this lifestyle for like 10-15 years. I don't remember how long it was at that point. He's all, the abuse is rampant, the drug use is rampant, there's, you know, you can't build real relationships with other men. He would go on, and he would try to scare these kids straight and be like, don't give in to these urges, don't give in to this lifestyle. Again, not me. This was what he was telling me he did. So I have never done that myself. Obviously I wouldn't. But what you're saying about the grooming, yeah, he said that's 100%. 100%. They, and obviously not every gay person does this. There are lots of decent gay people, but some of these guys, this is going to be like the, oh, all Mexicans are bad thing from Trump. But there are decent gay people, like there are decent straight people, like there are decent every people. And there are bad gay people, like there are bad straight people, like there are bad Asian people, like there are bad white people, like there are bad everybody. Okay? Everybody has good and bad. All right? Let's just get this out of the way. There are people who go out actively to groom young, confused children, young, confused teenagers, and they try to get them to accept and enter the lifestyle. And then all that other stuff. I mean, hopefully they don't. Hopefully they're not in a community like Hillcrest here in San Diego, or like San Francisco, where it is just so rampant, and the abuse and the drugs and all the bad stuff. Hopefully, you know, if you're in that lifestyle, that you do have a first of all, monogamous. You know, I don't need to explain it. Just try to be smart, okay? Try to be smart. With whatever you choose, try to be smart about it. I mean, you know my preference. My ideal is to turn to God, not to the flesh. But I understand that there are people who will refuse that, who will be driven more by their feelings than any desire to please God. And if that is you, then just on a practical level, just try to be smart. All right, I don't need to go through the rest of this. This is once again depressing me. Whitechapel Fiend says, it's nice to see Mike try again and again to avoid the accusation of spreading bigotry, and then you just prove my point for doubling down for him. I hope you got a lot of green to throw at Miller, because he ain't working for any small to large print company for any time in the near future. If you do, that's great, because he ain't reaching much of audience who will buy this crap now. Also, as far as impressionable kids go, just for you, going to finish my final draft of my kids-friendly transgender Cinderella game. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to make you rich there, Whitechapel Fiend. You're talking about me not being able to find work, and you want to make a kids-friendly transgender Cinderella game. Are you even capable of understanding how stupid that is? Heck, I might even volunteer to try it out at my next community event. Maybe your kid will sign up and I'll get that counter programming underway. Well, geez, no offense intended, Whitechapel Fiend, but that's disgusting. Am I a bigot for thinking that you trying to train young children into being transgenders is disgusting? Then by all means, call me a bigot. I'm out with that one. All right. It's funny. Eventually, someone will always reveal their true face. Whitechapel or White Castle? I don't know, man. What is the level of ridiculousness on that? I think it's a 12. Let me go back. Keep an eye on how long this has been going. Wow, we're already at 44 minutes. This is we've really been blowing through this one. Like the new camera angle, Mike has to look up to address us. Wow, that was disgusting. Was it not disgusting? Was it not? And it's over 9,000. Most people have an understanding of when they are doing something wrong or incorrect. Have you read The Righteous Mind? Jonathan Haidt explains there in depth. I have not read it. Sorry. Whitechapel, as in the The Ripper case. Oh my gosh, I did not even make that connection. But yeah, Whitechapel Fiend. Wow, this guy literally named himself after Jack the Ripper, and he wants to teach children to be transgender. Out of here. Bait it. I don't need you sub to me. I don't need anyone who thinks anything like you do subbing to me or watching my shows. You disgust me. Beat it. Nobody is buying that game. Yeah, you think? Always monitor your children's activity online. Yeah, right. Predation does not tend to run rampant in the community. Pretending that it isn't won't make it go away. Oh, you mean in the gay community? Yeah. I don't know how rampant it is. Like I said, man, I talked to Kyle for a while. And you know, again, this was 1999, so I'm going on a 19-year memory of conversations with a friend, and just trying to remember what he told me. I didn't write a book about it, and he didn't write a book about it, but it was scary to see a side of a community explain to you that usually people in that community do not want exposed to the rest of the world. Because honestly, I mean, if people knew, and again, I'm not saying this is the totality of the homosexual lifestyle. I'm saying that this was his experience in the community of a densely populated gay area of San Diego. And it was not anything pleasant. Get out of the hallway when you do that. Actually, JJ lives in that neighborhood. So I'm really hoping, because JJ's a really good guy, and I'm really hoping he doesn't fall into anything bad, because I love that dude, and I wouldn't wish anything Kyle told me on JJ. I gotta remember to pray for him more. Mike has the itchy booby. Milo? No. Milo? No. No Milo. Are we still talking about pedos? Yeah, sorry to make that about this again. But it's part of the whole thing with cross-examinations, is that I try to get to everybody's comments. If you leave comments, I try to get to them the next day. So please do. If you have comments about this. I don't want to continue dragging this particular topic up every single day, even though, I get a bunch of views. It doesn't matter, because I demonetize the cross-examinations videos anyways, because I don't want them to be about that. I want this is just about community. This is about
oh no, it's Parker in here.
Is
no, I'm leaving.
He's not, is he?
Down.
Parker's not in here, is he? Parker. No, he's not.
Just kidding.
No, man, this is about fellowship. This is about a place to answer questions. Be yourself. When Mike says beat it, he means leave. Is he?
Eden leaves now. You're mean.
Victor the Ripper?
Is crisis actor Eden. What?
Oh. That's the gag from earlier. They were saying that that I don't actually have children, that you're all just crisis actors I've hired to play my children. Oops. I dropped my green juice.
Who is prettier, Mike or Eden? I think that's obvious.
Thank you, Eden. I didn't think you'd I didn't think you'd feel the same. Make like a tree and get out. Never stop doing cross-examination streams though. No, I don't want to. I think this is very important. I think this is cross-examinations, even though it's my least watched show, I think it is my most important show. So hopefully I can find the time to continue to do this for a long time to come. And yeah, again, I don't even I demonetize these myself. If you'll notice, maybe the first few might still have the ads thing on them, but for probably the last month, every time I load one up, I edit one, I demonetize it. So remember to smash that like button, everyone. Yeah, I don't know how many people are watching. Let's see.
A child can
81 watching, 35 likes.
Daddy, no.
What's up, Bubba?
What were you talking about?
What?
Hi, Jojo.
No.
Is it wet?
Yeah.
Then go to mommy. Eden, can you go help him?
He was just with mommy. Mommy literally.
I'm literally in the middle of the show. I am literally. And forgiveness our way. Targaryen. And to get that answer, you can disassociate it from. Wait, what? A child cannot consent to the adult with the mature knowledge, which is why it is called taking advantage. This is why we prosecute the offenders. Yes. And to get that answer, you cannot disassociate it from children and ask if there's a situation where it is wrong for one of two consenting adults not to engage. What? Sorry. You guys go on with your conversation.
Cherry
is the best flavor. That's funny. I was just eating a Fayet yogurt today. A cherry one, and I was like, man, this is like so good. It's like super. I think cherry is probably my favorite flavor of Fayet yogurt.
I think blue is the best flavor.
Are you reading something, or did you say that?
No, I said that.
Blue is not a flavor. Actually, blueberry Fayet is really good too. Some people are trying to convince your dad that it's okay for an 80-year-old to marry a girl that is 12.
Oh, I plan to marry an 80-year-old.
And with that, we're done.
Lemon is Satan's nectar.
What did you think of the Legend of Korra? Legend of Korra?
That's the last Airbender.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen it. Let's see where we're at. 50, 52, and 53 minutes. All right, we got 7 minutes left to go. Sorry, I don't want to drag this out all night. I'm actually going to start working after this at midnight. Okay, maybe I won't. Maybe I should get to bed at a decent hour for once. That Whitechapel weirdo is the perfect example of LGBTAAP plus activists going out of their way to not just find, but generate fault. Yeah, I prefaced yesterday's whole show with yes, this is going to be offensive to some people, but I don't think yesterday's show was about pedophilia. Ah. Oh my gosh, dude, you did not. This picks that up. This is a very sensitive moment. I hope not.
No,
Mike, did you see Gosnell yet? I did not see Gosnell yet. I know what it's about. I'll see it eventually, I guess. What did you do to your Aquaman? You just throw that away? Aquaman's right here. Somebody want to buy it? Just let me know.
His brothers.
I know what wants to see.
Seeing your kids tonight has me missing video game night stream.
Oh, yeah. We should do another video game night stream.
Every time I do it, you're like, I'm tired.
I know. Well, it's got to be when I'm not tired.
Always tired.
I'm not always tired. I'm not tired right now. You got a good family. I'm like, I do have a good family. Besides this one. Wow.
That's what a child always likes to do.
Burp in my face?
I'd buy it. I'll buy it if you shrink Aquaman a bit. I think Ethan was right. Well, what I could do, but I don't like that, is white out her arm here and then overlay the leg. But
Not your best
I don't think
word.
he's right. I found 84 cents in the couch.
Congratulations.
Josh, you spelled couch wrong. How much for it?
Couch.
$400. Missed the drawing cord is the only drawing I saw, so by default Mike wins. Woo! Avatar: Last Airbender was far superior than Korra. Aquaman is huge. He is huge. Huge. It's fine, Mike. I think so too. I hope all your kids know how to protect family. Do you know how to protect family?
Oh my god.
That's right. The tangent on the trident is off. There's no tangent.
Yes, there is.
It is not.
You always draw tangents.
It's not a tangent. I know what a tangent is,
your
and that is
drawing
not a
fault.
tangent. John Malin is just way too sensitive about tangents.
There's a little thing.
I know. I was in a rush.
Ethan pointed it out too.
We are shooting for fine now. You guys are gonna make me end this early.
Ninja swords.
The
The cosine is.
Is it sing-song time?
No, you're bringing in their headache.
Like before even thinking of getting married and having kids, it's more important to get an education. I can see Eden in the medical world as a nurse or some type of doctor.
doesn't happen.
It's a sign.
Look harder.
No stamina. No stamina.
Edwin thinks I had a great piece tonight, and it was one of the more challenging contests. It really was. There were some great pieces there tonight. I think I voted for Matt. I think Matt should have won.
I think I should.
I mean, Elliot's piece was awesome too, and John's was great. And obviously mine was phenomenal. But hey, you take what you can get.
You're humble.
There's no.
So you draw taint.
I already won the day with the Ben Shapiro thing. So what in the name of all that's holy is sing-song time? Josh, you spelled holy wrong.
Holy.
Holy sing-song time is when Eden and I sing duets to the camera.
And it makes your eyes bleed.
And ears.
Aquaman's armor is a beast. Yeah, it is. Those scales, man. Sing a butter song, please. I don't know the butter song. I do not. Butter.
I want the sheet music for that.
Yes, we could use the sheet music. I liked Elliot's, but he didn't draw the bodies, so I looked at that as a negative. Yeah, if I was just gonna draw 3 heads, I could have friggin', killed it, but whatever.
I misspell a lot. It's my thing.
Misspell.
Are you doing ASMR?
Oh, Egg says it was great to hear Ben support you on the show. We've got about a minute left, so let's talk about Ben Shapiro. Because I did clickbait this.
This is epic.
I did clickbait this.
Okay, guys, this is
Okay, guys,
Okay,
this
guys.
is epic. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Did you know his wife's a doctor?
I did know his wife's a doctor.
No, that's a meme.
Oh, it's a meme?
No, it's real.
Ethan licking butter. So there it is. I debunked Elliot's piece. Wasn't that great after all. Oh, it's great. It's cheating. If you're just going to do headshots, it's cheating. Ben Shapiro is a never Trumper. Ben Shapiro was a never Trumper, and now Ben is still critical of Trump, but praises him for the things he believes he's doing right.
He used to have a show called Good Trump, Bad Trump.
He did?
Yeah.
Good Trump, bad Trump?
Yeah, where he would say things Trump would do good and bad.
Yeah. So, no, Ben does not love our president quite as much as I do. But, he's true to himself. He's true to his opinions. And he's got to admit, What I knew all along was that Trump was going to govern as a conservative. He has governed as a conservative. Ben is glad that he is governed as a conservative, but he will still call out Trump on the things he thinks he's doing wrong, which generally isn't governing. It's generally tweeting and being a little more shoot from the hip, a little insulting here and there, demeaning, whatever. Things that make me just laugh, Ben takes with less humor. But no, he's still very... How long will you let the Ben effect run before you go to print? Oh, I'm not very long. I don't... this sort of thing doesn't last long, so it shouldn't be long at all. His tweeting is the best part. Nice. What did Ben Shapiro say about Lone Star? Nick W., you don't know what Ben Shapiro said about Lone Star? Well, let's find out, shall we?
The hour's up.
Okay, the hour's up, but he wants to know what Ben Shapiro said about Lone Star. Where is it? Where is it?
He said,
wow, that's us.
Ben Shapiro.
Mike doesn't care about your feelings.
Oh, yeah, did you see him on PewDiePie?
On PewDiePie? No, I did not. Let's see. Next thing, this would be, what was it, 49.33?
Like that's what's driving people up a wall. Okay, time for some things I like and then some things that I hate. So, things that I like this week. So, there's a guy, really, really talented artist named Mike Miller, and he was the lead artist on the Justice series from DC Comics. Well, now he's gone independent, and he has a new project called Lone Star, Part of the Hero, and it's really worth checking out. You can go check out his Indiegogo. What's really cool is that when you do his kind of upper-level Indiegogo fundraising, you can actually send copies of this new comic, Lone Star, to the troops. You can send a minimum of 5 copies to troops around the world via
26 copies,
out right now at Indiegogo.com. Here's a little bit of the art. It's just beautiful. Go check out Lone Star from Mike Miller. So it's kind of like 80s style, and it's also, the art of it is really cool. You should go check out the art of it's really beautiful. It's fun to read, so check it out. Lone Star, Part of the Hero, and if you want to get some copies to the troops, then you can go check that out at Indiegogo.com/projects Lone Star. That's something worth checking out. Okay, other things that I like.
That's all that matters. So yeah, that was on Ben Shapiro today, and so that's been about an hour. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up this particular. Yeah, our own Edwin Boyette's voice sang out loud and proud on Ben Shapiro's show today. So far, about 26,000 people have listened to it. So Edwin, you're famous. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Gonna do this again in the morning. Eden is burping, blowing.
You are burping all over the place.
It must be the green juice. I'll blame that. Arnold and Alyssa in commando. So good night, aloha, everyone. Have a great evening. We'll see you bright and early, maybe tomorrow morning. It is 12. I know. I'm supposed to go to bed early. You're supposed to go to bed early. Good night. God bless. Aloha.